The world has endured and survived many pandemics. The Black Death, polio, most recently COVID-19, and so many more throughout history. They test us as societies and stir us to action, inspiring us to seek out the best of ourselves as we strive towards healing. But today, a whole other breed of pandemic persists through all stratas of our civilization. Western and Eastern, private sector and public sector, left and right. While it may not be as deadly, at least not as graphically and overtly, not included in juicy headlines and breaking news reports, I contend that it has caused and continues to cause the most damage out of any societal ill we have ever faced, infiltrating the hearts, souls, and spirits of millions, probably since time immemorial, escalated now to unprecedented new heights, or shall I say lows. This disease threatens not only the decency of what it means to be human, but also the very fate of the planet we call home. And the sad thing is, we sit by and watch it get worse and worse, day by day. No sense of urgency, accepted as normal. The topic I would like to discuss today, bootlickers. The pandemic of bootlickers. It's not just the fact that they enable the injustice of the world, but also that they actively excuse and defend it. They serve as the status quo's attack dogs. They are no longer human beings. Their identity now only consists of their job and their fidelity to their corporate overlords. These drones, ghosts, empty shells, these two-faced sycophantic bitches have effectively made the capitalists they serve the stars around which they orbit. Damnation takes the place of their imagination, insanity of their fantasy. While we struggle to make ends meet, bills stacking from the kitchen table to the ceiling, our dreams crushed by the everyday reality of living paycheck to paycheck, and never being able to build, grow, save. They say, you should be grateful to have a job, making as much as you make, while other companies lay off their workers. I say, what nonsense! I'm sorry. How much does the CEO make again? I'm sorry. How much do shareholders make again? Excuse me, but I could have sworn that the budget, which you claim doesn't have room for raises and better benefits for the workers who make it all possible, does in fact have room for bonuses, severance packages, and political contributions. Spare me. Spare me. This is gaslighting on a level that reaches new proportions, or shall I say, new records of depravity. The vanity of the pursuit of profit, whatever the impact on the world and its people. The vanity of selling one's soul and ignoring one's better angels. Our economic system is built on eggshells, a house of cards. Why do they lick the boots when they, in theory anyway, ought to be smart enough to know it's all for naught? Don't they realize that the only reason they do it is to feel special? Masking the fact that as soon as they clock back out and return to their homes, they're a bunch of nobodies. They take this out on us to elevate themselves and feed their fragile egos, going on power trips, mistaking vice for virtue. As soon as we operate, even a millisecond slower than their performance quotas demand, or as soon as they perceive this, justified or unjustified, we get chewed out as lazy, slapped around, and verbally abused. Write-ups are dished out disproportionately, according to who management decides to pounce on, gang up on, victimize, and those who they play favorites with. Meritocracy goes out the window. It's now only kill or be killed as we duke it out in the wilderness of this capitalist purgatory. We hope for a light at the end of the tunnel, but as the tunnel only gets longer and longer and longer, that hope fades and eventually dies. Unfortunately, there is no treatment for this disease. No pill, no surgery, no therapy, no herbal alternative. Only systemic, structural metamorphosis of our way of life and the mechanisms of our society could ever hope to cure it. But even then, there will always be a contingent among us, opportunistic, slimy, weaselly, cowardly, that seeks to play the system for their own advantage, their hearts rotten, their ability to empathize now bastardized. We must create a paradigm where they no longer hold power over the rest of us, where power is returned to its rightful home in the palms of the people's hands. We are the ones who built this world with our bare hands, with our labor. What would happen if suddenly carpenters, plumbers, electricians, engineers, construction workers, teachers, nurses, doctors, musicians, artists, writers, actors, retail associates, line cooks, dishwashers, coders, stylists, barbers stopped showing up to work? The economy would immediately come to a screeching halt. Mayhem would ensue. But what about the capitalists, the bourgeoisie? What if they stopped hoarding the wealth, buying and selling stocks, and pillaging the planet for its natural resources? A new dawn of peace would emerge. To the class traders out there, I say this: we see through you. Your facade does not convince us. And when you meet your maker, judgment will rain down on you. For where were you when your people needed you? While they were on their knees to pray, you were on your knees to kiss the ring. And perhaps more than that too, if you know what I mean. Whether it's nature or nurture, genetic or environmental, this illness is one we must purge from our society.